Hey guys, it's Katie and today I have a foundation routine for you. I'm going to share with you my little tips and tricks and how I apply my foundation. So go ahead and get your brushes, your foundation, and let's get started. Today's primer, I'll be using YSL's Flash Radiant Skincare Brush, and for foundation I'll be using the sadly discontinued YSL Taunt Resist Foundation. I have already primed my skin. This product requires about 2 minutes set time before you apply your foundation. So after I finished with my eyes, I applied the primer and then did my brows. So I'm going to start with my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Redness first. If you watch my review, the previous video before this one, you'll know how much of a game changer this is for my foundation routine. Now that I've neutralized most of the redness on my skin, I'll go ahead and start with the foundation. I'm just gonna throw my hair back a little bit, clip this side up. So I've pumped out just a little dollop of foundation on the back of my hand. I'm gonna be using my Sigma F80 flat kabuki brush to apply my foundation today. Remember to blend the foundation into your hairlines. Blend down the neck. I like to work the brush in circular motions. That way you really work the foundation into your skin and you're less likely to leave any streak marks. If you're finding some problem areas that need a little extra help, go ahead and go in with some concealer. At this point, I've finished applying my foundation. I like to let it sink and meld with the skin for a little bit, so I'm going to do my under eye concealer, and then after that's through, I'll go in and set with powder. You're probably wondering what this craziness underneath my eyes is. It is extra powder that I've packed on to my under eye concealer so that it won't crease. I tend to crease really easily, so I have to really lay on the powder to let it set, basically. So excuse that for right now. So my foundation is pretty much set into my skin while I did that under eye stuff. I'm just gonna lightly dust my face with some powder to set my foundation. Today I'm using La Mer's powder in 03 Beige, and I'm just gonna take a big fluffy brush and dip just a little bit, tap off the excess, and just ta-da. That's really all I do. I just literally like a light dusting of powder. So I usually get oily right here in the T-zone, so that's where I have powdered. And I'm just gonna go ahead and sweep away all the excess powder underneath my eyes. There we go. So that's the finished foundation. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my face, and then I'll be back in just a minute. Now that my face is all put together, I just want to share a few tips and tricks with you to help make the most of your foundation. The first would be skincare. If you have dry skin, make sure you exfoliate and use a rich hydrating moisturizer. If you have oily skin, before using any primer or foundation, I would take a piece of tissue. If it has 2 plies, pull the 2 plies apart so that you have something just really thin like this. And once your moisturizer has kind of set in a little bit, take it and just press it against your skin. That'll blot away any of the excess moisture and oils that may be sitting on top of your skin that haven't been absorbed. That way your foundation will be less likely to like break apart. Make sure you're primed. With primers, I usually tend to go with whatever foundation brand's primer. I do that because they tend to base the products out of the same thing. So if it's a water-based foundation, they'll typically do a water-based primer. That way the two substances meld well together. Primer that's silicone based and you're trying to use foundation that's water based, those two substances may not mesh well together. People can see patchy or blotchy application. So use like with like. You don't necessarily have to go, you know, the expensive route that I did. Look at the ingredient list. Usually the first product listed, the first ingredient listed will be what your foundation is based from. So that way you know what kind of primer to go for. For oily skins, for setting with powder, I would take second ply of tissue that you pulled apart and blot your foundation. Don't wipe it away, but just gently just press it against the skin like you did with after your moisturizer, and that way that also will alleviate some of the excess moisture from the foundation that hasn't set into your skin. Try not to over powder. Sometimes we think that more powder is better. Minerals in the powders themselves can actually act to draw more oils out so that your skin may feel parched and it's producing more oils to compensate for that. So powder as lightly as possible and only when necessary. I would recommend carrying blotting sheets rather than your powder with you, because the more powder you're packing on, the cakier you're gonna look. You're gonna look like you played in Betty Crocker's kitchen. If your foundation is like a sheer light medium coverage and you find that after one layer of foundation you're really not getting the coverage that you need or want, I would suggest either trying to find a more full coverage foundation or just using a concealer that is your skin tone. Applying a second layer of foundation might be just a little too much and it'll kind of throw off the colors, so you might end up looking a little too orangey or a little too caked on, or you'll really look like you have a foundation mask on. So we really want to avoid that. Spot conceal whatever areas need it the most and just gently blend it in. Once that has set in a little bit, take your foundation brush and kind of just gently blend in so it melds with the rest of your foundation. I hope you guys found this video useful, helpful, informative. If there are any tips and tricks that you have to making your foundation look flawless or helping the wear longevity of it, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to learn and find out more things because I don't know everything. Hopefully see you guys in my next video. Until next time, I leave you with lots of love and laughter. We're just gonna paint my face. You guys. YSL's blah 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 blah. That way your foundation. Did I say powder enough? I hope you tutorial. So